under the new Section 73, I think. So I became the first Indian to be served a notice under IT Act.
Oh.
It's a dubious distinction, but it works. So I got the first notice, and then went and represented our situation and our findings and what happened and all that. And it's a incident handling than incident response, all about creating all the stakeholders across and bring them in together. CBA was pressed into that already, and whole lot of other things have happened. Finally, with all the support of all the good friends in the industry as well as the
Hello everyone, welcome back to the GB show. As I'm continuing my journey in Bangalore, today I'm going to meet one of my mentor, Gupta Boda. He's having around 28 plus years of experience in diverse industry. He has worked with automotive, infrastructure, education, and have worked in the diverse field like IT, infrastructure, security, innovation, and lot more. Today, I am going to talk to him about the tips and tricks a leader need to follow and also the emerging trends in the IT world. Let's hear him out. Hello, sir. Welcome to the GB show.
good morning again.
Morning, and thanks for giving me your time. And I think I have been talking to you from last 5-7 years and have taken so many tips and tricks from you. So you have been my mentor. So now I thought, why not I get some advice or some your skills to my audience directly from your mouth. Okay, so but before we start, for my audience, maybe you have your diverse 28 years of experience in different industries. So the era when you started your career and now it is totally different, right? So will you like to share some of your experiences, how your journey start, and what all changes you have witnessed throughout these 28 or 30 years?
It's a long journey at the beginning, right? When you look back, it looks entirely different, but when we are traversing, it's a different feeling altogether. But I'll summarize it. Started off with, I graduated as an electronics and communications engineer from Andhra University, a college called SRK Engineering College. Then went on to do my master's in software systems from BITS Pilani. It was one of probably, I would say, a turning point. Otherwise, I would have ended up doing some kind of selling some sharewares and stuff like that at that point in time, because 1995 shareware was the boom market. I thought, why not capture it in India? That was the thought. But this is a better choice.
Good
choice,
yes.
Right? Number one. Then after BITS, kind of joined Bharat Electronics, worked on defense project, creating what is called as a multi-radar tracking system for one of our frigate ships. It was a very challenging project because the algorithms were not suitable for Indian radars to convert, or rather ensure that they are working for Indian radars. So it took a lot of effort, simulations, and about a year we could crack and show that the accuracy of the radar, the prediction of this algorithm was good and could be tested, testing ready. 1 year was a good amount of effort for that kind of it was a record in a way, we can say, right? Then after about a year, then something like caught my attention. Mercedes-Benz was trying to set up their center in India, and they were looking for radar people. I didn't understand at that time what is the meaning of it. The relevance for radar people at the time. So I said, okay, let me casually apply, and I applied. And it seems there were 6,000 odd applications, and I was one among 8 people got selected.
Okay.
And I joined Daimler or Mercedes and started working on various things, but due to restrictions of this radar work to be coming to India due to defense kind of work in nature. So I had to change my field. I went on to software engineering. Started working on software engineering problems, more like software engineering related problems like specification. How do we specify requirements in a more accurate manner so that we can create systems that do not fail, especially automotive systems
Okay.
or aerospace systems or the defense systems. We experimented these things in the tanks, and coding for tanks, coding for automobile, coding for Airbus. So we created several applications to test the aerospace applications, kind of things. So there I honed the skills of software engineering a lot more. Software engineering combined with software systems, and went on to create certain systems for controlling the cars and stuff like that. Over a period,
And that is which year?
that was 96 to 2000.
Oh, that time, because
That
we
time.
are seeing the modern cars with so
Exactly.
many sensors, but
So
that time, yeah.
yeah, so essentially we were kind of creating things like testing architectures for cars. So we created a program. I mean, Daimler had its own program called test system, and it was primitive in certain functions. So we took it over in India and expanded its functionality, and even applied it to test the Airbus A380 wing.
Okay.
It was a crazy thing, crazy application for a test system to apply on an unconventional thing like testing an Airbus wing. That's what we did. We spent a couple of weeks in Toulouse in France to understand the kind of testing requirements for the Airbus wing. A380 was in building, so we while it was in prototype, we were walking inside the hull, the fuselage, and how is it getting assembled on the floor, then the test requirement, how does it what needs to be tested and things like, then automated using the tool what we created, for which is an internal tool for Daimler. The reason is Airbus was owned partly by Daimler Aerospace. Daimler Aerospace was owned by Daimler Corporation. That's how we had opportunity. It's an inside R&D work kind of thing. So after about during that we started facing some quality issues related to software. So we started working on what is called how do we reduce these quality issues and delivery issues. Essentially, at that time the boom was every software institute or software organization you would speak to is like CMMI level 5, right? Everybody says CMMI level 5. Then what is the difference? There was hardly any difference. Then the question started to emerge on our Indian R&D software center. What are you doing about quality? That's then, prior to those questions coming, I started a small team focused on quality and led the organization to become CMMI level 3, first ever within the whole Daimler world. Okay, it gave us, then using those processes which were defined, we could deliver the projects on time in terms of quality with less defects, documented, and that kind of helped me in expanding the work in a much better way. We'll talk about that when we go there. During that phase, I kind of transition from inside of the car kind of programs to outside of the car, like converting things like test systems or change management systems. Change management system is like, a typical example. A typical car has about 10,000 parts. If one part is not available in a particular country, what do? You need to replace the part with something else. Then often this part is not interoperable. Then you need to understand what is the impact of the remaining parts around it and then make that change. So now this is humanly not practical to manage. So that's when these diagrams, the parameters of these parts all are recorded into something called as a product lifecycle management tools, and we created on top of it change management tool. And this change management tool will work for 40 plus models over 20 years, over 160 countries. With homologation meaning
That's
a car
insane.
part may require to be locally sourced, then that part may change, and that particular variant of the drawing is available to the local engineers versus the global variant is available for everybody else. So at any point in time, the change or the product manager of a particular line will always know, okay, how many parts is dealing with. 10,000 in reality, but it will expand to something like 15,000 to 20,000 depending on the number of countries it is operating in, to the number of regulations of homologation
Just
that is
thinking the
necessary.
permutation and combination, how
Exactly.
many combination, it must be crazy,
Crazy.
stuff actually.
And,
Yeah.
and the amount of data was something like 40 terabytes.
Why, that time
It's in
yeah.
2005 we are talking 40 terabytes. It's like crazy. That's the kind of, then when you're writing a code which will go through and process through and manage it, it has to be extremely efficient and secure, because this data we cannot afford. So we introduced the complete secure SDLC into that process, and from India. So this is how we started adding value. Well, you can develop an application, but we also added secure SDLC. So started with the design review, requirements from the security point of view. Then comes the design, the requirement review, design review, then the code review. Just not code review, but also we applied tools like HP's. I forgot the name of the tool right now. It's a 45 plus to scan this
the code
the
and
development code. We were kind of on an average every week we were scanning about 1 million lines of code. That was the schedule, because 1 million lines of code will be scanned, then the team will be fixing it. The next million, it's like now we will split the whole application, about 2.4 million lines of code, into two breaks, module 1 and module 2. Module 1 will be scanned, and while module 2 gets fixed. And
Okay, so that's,
like that we
so
staggered the
Scrum
work.
and Agile were doing that time
Yes,
itself.
we were using a week
Yeah.
time boxing of the work,
Yeah.
and it is based on very similar agile principles. Luckily, I worked with some of the people who worked on the Agile Manifesto at Chrysler, because it originated at Chrysler. Martin Fowler, all these people. So when I had worked out of Chrysler in Detroit, Auburn Hills, I happened to meet the project which they worked on, C3, which is Chrysler Compensation System, and the people who worked on and what they did. I had first-hand experience with those people. Then, because of my software engineering experience, what I had done, and specifications and all these kind of reference works, what I have done, and the test specifications, the tools we have done, we got exposed to a lot more software engineering professionals like at Carnegie Mellon. I did my SEI, CMM courses, both implemented and intermediate courses at Carnegie Mellon University.
Okay.
During that exposure gave me a lot more exposure to the experts like Martin Fowler or James Rumba. These are all the pioneers of software engineering architecture, and Vic Basili is a pioneer in software metrics kind of guys. So that kind of led to once the software systems are done, we have also established, okay, we found that software testing is an important thing as we were doing. So we did and established a parallel track of testing the systems in a center of competency, and we developed quite a bit of people in the Mercedes R&D India through this, and we offered not only testing, we also entered into security testing, VAPT, for others.
That is where your
We have
experience to the
experienced,
security
right.
starts.
So around 2003 we started experimenting with offering this VAPT for others, especially code security, application security, not the infrastructure. We started with application security, and from 2005 it became much more better, and 2007-8 it was a lot of divisions within Daimler were taking services internally. Around 2002-2003 we started working on VAPT and patching. I was also handling infrastructure management for the center in India. During that, we kind of I played one of the key members in the overall global rollout of Qualys. It was a Qualys Guard. We rolled out, and it was rolled out across 700 locations. I helped with a few of the Asia locations, but in India, we became pretty compliant because we were rigorous in our patching, and our non-compliance rate was like 0.04%. So it was, when the Qualys dashboard was displayed in the global headquarters in Germany, Müringen, They were looking at, this seems to be an anomaly, 0.04%, nobody will have that. So they thought, they discounted it for the first meeting. I said, okay, I kept quiet in the first council meeting. Second month, 0.03%. This is an anomaly, discounted. Third month, I said, it's not an anomaly, it is consistent, and that's from my side. Then they had no other option except to say, claim that, and the next non-compliance was 76%. 0.03 and next was 76% non-compliant. Then few of the plants who were working said, Gupta, can you help us? I said, why not? So we entered, that's how we entered into what we call as remote infrastructure support for security. We created a small, I can't call it a virtual CISO, but that's what, if you really in this world, that is what would have been virtual. If I was smart, probably I would have renamed and would have got it at virtual CISO.
Patent करा सकते थे आप.
हाँ, but then we brought 7 plants below 2-3%. Then top 10 list was dominated by India.
Awesome.
Where the supported, wherever we are supported, they were brought down. Then the overall the patching and the rigor improved across the globe. So we started to see the flattening the curve to a lot more controllable numbers. Like 20% was what was set as a, after 1 year of rollout, 20% was set as a non-compliance. If you go beyond 20 compliance, we'll ask you, we'll do submit a remedial plan and so on. Otherwise, it was good.
I think those are the data, or those are the points which gets or bring a confidence in a leader, and
Absolutely.
that emerge in the future. I can see that today.
Yeah.
That from where it is coming.
And not only that, at that time, if necessary, we were kind of going into the system and into the dashboard and see, oh, this machine, okay, let's go. Why is this user not giving, or this application not giving downtime? Let's plan downtime and bring the machine up.
Yep,
And
exactly.
that rigorousness was what was changed, rather helped us, grab the attention. We took it as a challenge, as a team. We had a very small team, about 15 people for the whole infrastructure, about 600 people, which included infrastructure, network, and all other things, printing, everything included. But then we said, hey, we are rolling out, we are a key member. If you want to make a mark, this is the place. And this is basically identifying the right opportunity for the team as well. And all the team got recognized for their contribution from the global leaders because of that.
Nice.
That led to, see, it's all about creating the opportunity always exists in front of you, but it's about the clarity with which you look at it and focus on it, then pursue it.
Okay. So opportunity, clarity, and then pursuing.
This is what happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that, and it's just not about us. Okay, I may see the opportunity, but would the team see the same opportunity? That's where you'll bring the focus to say, yes, this is what we are working on, so that the team is also aligned to that, the opportunity. Then when that happened, I remember some days we stayed on Saturday, Sunday, we came back to work after having, and we stayed the whole nights, did a night out, 2-3 night outs to bring the compliance to 0.03%. Otherwise, we were also 30%, 40% when we tried.
So hard work is required, and you need to be consistent, you need to be putting some efforts. But I think the today's leader can actually listen out to you. Even the freshers, when they are coming in, the very first they ask, Saturday, Sunday, no working.
Over.
So that's the trend today. But
well,
then, yeah, go on.
Sorry, Saturday, Sunday, no working is, it's a good thing. But if you really look at the most of the manufacturing industry works 6 days or even 7 days. Defense works 7 days. Can they take 2 days off? I'm not sure. If they take 2 days off, we don't know where we will be.
Exactly. But yeah,
so it's about the objective of the work, what we are accomplishing, right? So it depends on that. I think it's a great point you brought up. There was a controversy around Narayana Murthy 70 hours and Bill Gates 30 hours.
Yeah.
I don't think it is about, whatever it is. I mean, the fundamental part is, in the early stage, one needs to work hard and learn as much as possible. It doesn't matter. If you are happy with 40 hours and yeah,
Maybe the point here is don't work for your organization 70 hours, work your organization for 40 hours, then 40 hours work on yourself. That is what is needed in the initial days, I guess. But yeah, so
learn,
how's your, yeah,
learn. That's
exactly.
what is needed. Whatever the effort you're putting in, it's all about learning. And when you bring in additional skills, the opportunities present itself even in the same organization, maybe other organization as well.
Hmm. And from your there, then it happens. GMR happens to you after that,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
So from innovation software, and from there to global CISO.
right.
How was that transition?
Well, that was a GMR. It happened like a chance. Somebody cold called me and said, "Okay, are you looking out for an opportunity?" I said, uh, uh, I was like in a double mind. You know, your comfort of a Mercedes with a brand that is recollected, I mean, recognized across the globe. You wear, oh, you're working for Mercedes. Then, and also the kind of niche work we have done. By the way, in between 2004 and 2008, around that period, we kind of did some work on what will be the future of security for car.
Okay.
In 2003, we did a prototype for something called as firewall for car. Why? Okay. Because the difference is it may not be understood by a normal automobile engineer, but a Mercedes has 3 different networks inside the car. It's CAN A, CAN B, CAN C. Okay. One for comfort functions, one for normal functions, and one for safety functions or critical functions like, you know, braking and things like that. Why did they differentiate? We talk about network segregation. That's exactly what they followed the principle in the car.
Oh.
Network segregation, the functionality. See, a typical, you know, if imagine you're driving on the road at 200 kilometers per hour or 300 kilometers per hour, which a Mercedes can do, 300 kilometers per hour, and you try to change the knob of or the seat angle, and that has a malfunction and it pumps the signal, right? You know, and pumps the signal in such a onto the network or to the cable the bus, and at the same time you're trying to brake. Which signal should the car read? Your seat alignment or the brake?
The brake should be the first, the car should.
But does it understand? These are stateless machines. They don't understand. They just understand the signal. If this is a denial of service in a real world under the car, if that such a denial of service happens, can there be safety compromise to the safety of the car and hence the security of the car? We evaluated that and said, okay, we created various use cases about that. At that point in time, what was called as spurious parts. Spurious parts were like, you know, capable of pumping this kind of signal onto the bus and can cause harm. So that's when we kind of looked at those kind of use cases in the context of Mercedes and created a firewall and prototyped it.
This is
but
really
then
an eye-opening thing.
Exactly.
I never thought that in car, like, you know, they have micro segmentation over there.
in 2003, I think the global team emphasized that by 2020, car is going to have 70% of software. In the total, that's what has happened. Reality may not do exactly, but okay, still the battery and the motor and are still costing a lot more than the software. But the shape and the features of the car are determined by software, no longer by the electronics and hardware, or rather at the motor anymore, right? So this has changed. That's when we started working. Okay, because of these kind of crazy things we have worked on, somebody said, you know, there's an opportunity in an Indian company for a CISO. Would you be interested? I was in double mind. You know, would you leave these kind of opportunities that were forward looking, or should you look for an Indian company? Then that's when I decided, okay, I think we have worked enough for a foreign company. Let's work for Indian companies. From then on, I've been only working for Indian companies.
Awesome.
That was the shift.
The shift, okay.
Then took over the role of group CISO at GMR, and one of the first job was to kind of create awareness. It was very hard. An infrastructure company mitti se dalte. I mean, we deal with mitti, so we started calling it as you know, IT in the mitti. So we are putting that IT in the mitti machines. So it's basically we have to also talk the same language, and it required, going to the site, be with the people on the ground, and say, observe what they're doing, and say, okay, why are you doing like this? Okay, ये काम ऐसे ही होता है. तो फिर सिक्योरिटी कौन है? दिस वाज टिपिकल थिंग इज रीयूजिंग पासवर्ड्स और रीयूजिंग यूज़र आईडीज़. सेग्रीगेशन ऑफ ड्यूटी सिखाना तो उसको कैसे सिखाएं? तो इफ द वन मशीन अवेलेबल एंड एवरीबडी हैज़ टू लॉग इन, से एक ही लॉग इन से सब कुछ, everything was happening. So we had to kind of create that awareness, the meaning of segregation, what does it impact, how is the audit getting issue or rather failing because of these kind of activities. You're doing a purchase order and you're doing another thing here, payment related stuff. These two cannot be combined in the same user ID. So that's why we created two user ID. Why are you not using? Kind of things it started with. Then we started talking about things like, okay, does your machine have antivirus? Have you checked? Okay, you're not rebooted your machine for quite some time. It's kind of us not delivering the patches to you, or USB you're asking for USB open. Why is it required? These kind of at site, sir, we have only two machines, we have only two desktops, we have to do everything here, so we need these access. So we had to kind of explain what the risks with respect to it and so on. 2010 I joined. 2010 was the year of Stuxnet. Everybody was concerned about Stuxnet. So first thing what I did is I traveled to all the plants at GMRA, which is the energy plants. We had about 800 megawatt total capacity installed at that time.
Okay.
800 megawatt. One plant was in another 600 was getting commissioned. It's not yet ready. With that, it would be 1400 megawatt, 1.4 gigawatt. So these were in remote locations. Travel to that and see whether the network is segregated, the control system is segregated, when was the control system updated, then teach them the issues with Stuxnet. They were in a complete isolation. They don't even know about Stuxnet or the issues with it. So the engineer comes and says, okay, go. They escort the engineer to the MMI room or man-machine interface room. That's where their console would be. The engineer would open his box and take out his things, and he'll put in a USB and update and then go. He might have come from another plant where it would have been infected and we wouldn't even know. This was the kind of challenge. So this is where we are shown, hey, you know what, this is what is actually happening. Stuxnet is the issue. First you start with the plant head, then the next operational heads, then come to the operators who are actually doing. It's a 3-level training. Then do's and don'ts. When you publish do's and don'ts across and ensure that things are not connected or they're disconnected to the air gap to the as much as possible. Wherever there was not air gap, we kind of looked at enhancing the security through double firewall, a waterfall model firewall, where only one route to one side and second route to another side, so kind of things. This was a primitive available at that point in time. There are, of course, there are better methods available today with virtual software driven networking methods. It's better. That time that was what was an investment needed to upgrade. That definitely prevented no Stuxnet, no single incident reported for nearly 6 years. No, 2017 when I left, I never had an incident related to Stuxnet. The reason I say specifically is we also had Siemens S7 controllers in our environment. Of course, Stuxnet is a very sophisticated, directed to a specific target, but people have reported issues with Stuxnet when there is a Siemens S7 controllers. So at least we prevented that from with the proactive measures what we have done.
Proactive measures and the awareness works for you in a big way.
Then another shocker came around 2011 due to an insider attack, and in the airport it was down in the middle of the night around 9 o'clock, something like that. We found some issues, and 11 o'clock the system was down. At 12 o'clock, I think it was 12 o'clock, midnight, when there was a cron job was put in to bring the system down by an insider. Who is this insider? This insider is a tier 4 supplier who is assigned the job.
Oh my God.
Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. And he has left the organization but still has the access. And there was a settlement issue between Tier 4 operator and Tier 4 employee. They did not get paid, so they decide to punish their customers. Of course, we managed to get hold of that, and that is a phenomenal incident, very phenomenal incident.
That is what exactly we even talked.
4 hours it took to restore from the backup, and to the in that 4 hours there were almost like 80 plus flights scheduled to leave. They could not print boarding passes. That was the situation. So it was a emergency escalation hot seat kind of a thing. I was in Bangalore, rest of the team is in Delhi. Phenomenal. We managed to get hold of some forensic guy and get things out in the middle of the night. Sitting from Bangalore, could pull strings from some of the good partners in the ecosystem, pull strings and get that person on board and get the forensic, do an analysis what has actually went wrong, able to do that. In the meantime, try to restore, because the replication was done in around 11ish. This same script was also there on the DR and also on the third replicated site. So HA was not even available. I mean, HA also failed, DR also failed. So it took a backup restoration only saved us to bring the capacity up at 40%, then replicate that into the one of the HA systems, then to secondary DR, and then the first DR, first secondary data center and the first data center. It took almost like 4.5 hours. During these 4.5 hours, hell broke loose, and that an airport system is a very intricate system. One flight gets delayed, it has a ripple effect on the rest of the flights.
Yes, definitely.
So that led to nearly 140 plus flights getting delayed on that particular day. It went up till next day morning 10 o'clock.
Okay.
To our luck or bad luck, next day parliament session was in proceedings. So all these MPs were trying to come to Delhi and all their flights were delayed. So it became a question in the parliament, why are we as a government giving opportunity for operating critical things like airport to private operators?
Okay.
It became a newsline item and a discussion item, including an Arnab's TV show, right? Then came formation of a JPC, Joint Parliamentary Committee, and that led to certain swooping in on the team and then the GMR team. Unfortunately, due to the pressure the GMR team was in, they could not respond in time. So that time the director sir, Gulshan Rai sir, was there. He called, it's all happened in 3 days. Said, Mr. Gupta, I need your neck, essentially, in a soft way. I said, I'm going to hold your neck. I said, yes sir, please do. So I'm issuing a notice to you so that your team can come and meet me. I said, please sir. So that's how, under the new section 73, I think. So I became the first Indian to be served a notice under IT Act.
Oh.
It's a dubious distinction, but it works. So I got the first notice and then went and represented our situation and our findings and what happened and all that. And it's a incident handling than incident response, all about creating all the stakeholders across and bring them in together. CBA was pressed into that already, and whole lot of other things have happened. Finally, with all the support of all the good friends in the industry, as well as with support from our management, we successfully defended our case and what actually went wrong, and even found the culprits and sentenced to imprisonment for 3 years.
Okay.
So that was my first use of IT Act for putting somebody behind bars.
Okay.
And after that, several incidents have happened.
Yeah. So insider threats, you may be trying to do it, but be wary of it. So that we have the law. If it worked in 2011, I hope 2024 it will work today as well. So yeah.
It'll work. Then that actually changed a bit of cybersecurity in the whole of the company, in a way that what we call a zero tolerance. We started looking at much more critical all these kind of points and segregated, SOC was strengthened, so many things came up. So yes, incidents do help, it's an opportunity again, but that window of opportunity is very short. During that you have to make use of the best use, and as a CISO I felt under tremendous pressure, but what I did is I did not let that pressure go to the team. It was, I told the team only one part: if anything goes right, it's your credit. If anything goes wrong, I take the bullet.
Okay,
That
that's what define a true leader.
that's the whole idea of keeping the pressure away from the team. Said I kept updating all these team members, so that led to what we call as a defining moment as well. So that led to whole lot of increase in the visibility to the management on InfoSec as well as to the individuals, and it became our awareness sessions became much more interesting and much more engaging after that. So a lot of technologies were deployed around that period, DLP to host based security to like VMware, deep security from Trend. So there were several things like that we have implemented during that period, and it helped us stay our posture correct. And after that we did not face much of the issues, including patching and all push, all those were done, but yeah, it didn't bring much issues after that. So we had uneventful years, and which is good, but also bad, because you'll never be expressive yourself when there's no event, right? But it's good for CISOs. I mean, it's like CISOs get stronger and stronger when they face more and more incidents.
Exactly.
But also have to have that kind of
This is the trend. Even we are seeing that when even people are putting the job applications, when they are interviewing, they are asking CISOs. I mean, you have faced any incident,
exactly.
and if you have done, because then you have learned and you have gone through the phase. Maybe current organization may say please go, but other people are looking for you.
That's
So
that,
let the
I
incident
think,
be there.
oh, perfect. I mean, this actually I did get a lot of calls, private calls to talk about this incident in many of the organizations and shared in private several forums, but in private. See, we did not want to talk a whole lot of things about it. The what, and DSA facilitated several such sessions.
Okay.
Yeah, during that early stage, because that was a newsline grabbing incident.
Okay. Was that the reason for you to choose education company after that, because you started talking and awareness
Yeah.
and you maybe started having fun in that?
Absolutely, that was one of the reasons. See, okay, this is where I felt around 2015-16 I started feeling that maybe in 10 years, 5 to 10 years, there will be crunch in the InfoSec talent. That's when I said I was looking for opportunities. That's when this EC Council thing happened. It was like we wanted to do something slightly different in terms of, yes, their traditional stuff was always there, and can we do something different was the intent. So we tried to explore some things. During that we created advisories, especially in NotPetya, and there was another one which was WannaCry. Two ransomware advisories we issued through EC Council that reached almost like 200,000 people.
Okay.
It was a good, that was a very good thing. Yeah, that was one of the reasons I said, like, we should increase the talent. That was the intent. But then, yeah, there was some sort of differences in what I was thinking to what, there was a sort of misalignment. We felt that it is better to split as friends, and so we split, and I didn't pursue that after that. But I see still there is an opportunity. If I see another 5 to 10 years, probably there's going to be a sort of crunch. Still there is a crunch. Today you find it hard to find a person with good skill on the tool concept. Both are missing. A lot of people come with network. Okay, what is class C network? Why are you making this mask versus that mask? Why are you not able to connect these two networks? Like, no, I have to write a rule here. That's all I know. But okay, but the rule is representative of the real world. But why is this not understood? Okay, because they're not visualized. They're not understood the concept, the core concept. If it is not understood, how will you replicate in the system? How will you model it in the system? This were one of the common problem. Yeah, that's where I see the
the-
crunch. Fine, you understand there is a antivirus has thrown an error. How do you interpret that error? What do you do with it? If you ask, I tell my manager. That's a common answer I seen in last 5-6 years with lots of young people whom I interacted with. But really, in your capacity, you don't have another thing to do. Have you analyzed it? Have you understood the family of it? Have you understood the what is the impact of it if it gets materialized or if it is successful? If these are things, if you understand, then you can start to look at preventing. First understand, then differentiate. What is the difference between previous ransomware and this ransomware? This is the differentiation. Once you differentiate, then you can probably analyze it even better. These kind of things are the ones which are missing. Typically, that I still see as a skill gap.
Amazing. I think, sir, your overall journey is a learning in itself. I'm just getting goosebumps that with all those incidents which you have gone through or the kind of innovation which you have done. That's awesome. Okay, I think it has been always a great journey, and in your experience, you have shown that how innovation, security, user experience, and how convincing and working with the board. I think amazing learnings I had today, and of course, my audience must have got a great insights from you. So the last segment which I have for you, maybe what kept you going and how you emerge as a strong leader, and if you want to give for the new generation the leadership mantras, what has worked for you? Maybe any good 2 or 3 advice which you like to give to my audience.
Sure, certainly. Thank you. Firstly, thank you, Gaurav and Cyberfrat team for giving this opportunity. I should have acknowledged it even before. But yeah, first and foremost, keep eyes and ears open for opportunities. There's opportunities everywhere. It's all about finding the right opportunity. Just don't go grab everything that comes your way. Assess, evaluate what fits in your vision, or rather what you like to do. So this is what is called ikigai, right? You find your passion, what you want to do. Ikigai is one of the foundational thing. My ikigai is like I want to be one of the best in the cybersecurity. That's what I tried to be. And that's number one. Number two, be where the puck is going to be, not go after the puck. This is the secret to Messi. Messi always goes where the ball is going to be, not where the ball is. This is how you play the game. If hacker is going to be after something, are you able to understand that before and put your steps before? Or a technology. Today we are talking about so many innovations. What are the next opportunities in technology? Is it XDR? Is it IoT security? Is it crypto security or quantum or anything? That's where you if you look at today, we are already SIEM, antivirus, XDR, all of them are already done. Yeah. Don't work for tomorrow, work for day after tomorrow. Work today for today's technology, develop skills for day after tomorrow.
Awesome. I think amazing learning. So develop skills for day after tomorrow. And I know, this whatever word we had in last 30 minutes, it's not enough. I need to shoot maybe a full day session with you to get all things out of you. But it was really awesome and great, insightful session which we have, sir, with you. So as a ritual, I will like to give you this and say thanks for being on the GB show.
Thank you.
And guys, I will see you next Sunday with another great episode. Till then, take care, be safe, bye bye.
Stay safe, bye bye.